Hello everybody, Corey here. I'm going to go over the trades and holdings for ULTY for Friday, June 7th. And I know it's almost Monday, but for some reason I've been avoiding this one like a plague. But I just went through everything and I think I have everything documented for this one to let you know where we stand. Just a reminder, I'm not a qualified licensed investment or financial advisor. I just gather the data and present it to you so you can make your own opinions and decisions here. YieldMax ETFs are extremely risky, so please make sure you know what you're investing in before you do so. These risks are identified or defined on their website. So, where to even start? Okay, so let's just start with the daily roundup because that's what we normally do. And there we go. So here's all the stocks that we held going into Friday. And all the IVs are here, so I've ranked them to the highest to the lowest. So our highest to the therapeutics and Novavax companies at 129%. Then we also have Space Mobile there at the 117%. And then, of course, we have our lowest down there, which is ARM and Victoria's Secret at 57 and 51%. I expect that Victoria's Secret will be gone unless they hold on to it because it dropped so much and they want to try to make some money off of it. Otherwise, they're just going to lose a bunch of money by selling the stock. But they did have earnings last week. So my assumption is that's the only reason that they added this one. Well, not the only reason. I think they added it because it's a respectable company. But then, too, they were having earnings. And I only say that, and maybe they don't. Maybe they don't listen to anybody, but I know a bunch of people complain about the stocks that ULTY holds for some reason, but I don't know. They may not listen to all of that. All right, so it's looking at the price here. It looks like ULTY dropped 1.5% on Friday, or 22 cents, and the S&P and the Nasdaq 100 they dropped 0.11%. Let's see. Our outstanding shares have increased by, make sure, 200,000. Of course, we know this next week is declaration day and ex-dividend date, so we'll get into that as well. Here's the three trades here. The three... You can see Reddit, Coin, and ARM that they closed out on Friday. We'll go over those. And then you can see the totals at the top for this pay period. And then, of course, you can see the net assets. And let's sort this. Oh, there we go. So you can see that they're at the bottom that they were closed out of. And then we have the rest here. Not too bad if we're looking like the average, because I think when we started last week we're about $6 million. Of course, Novavax has pulled most of these up, while we can see Zim, Viking Therapeutics, and Victoria's Secret has really pulled those down. I think Clean Spark and Mara, I think they've gone down in stock price, and that might be why they're down in there. But anyway, so that's the daily roundup tab. And then let's go to the holdings from it was Thursday. So here I went in and did the to see where we were going to end at on Friday compared to those short calls that were on the holdings on Thursday. So ARM was actually the only one that was over the strike price at the close of the day, that is, and it was over $5.57. But I had that highlighted in yellow along with Coin and Reddit because these are the three that they actually paid to close out of. The rest of these expired, worthless. All right, so then if we go to the trades tab, so here at the top, what just happened? Okay, so here at the top, you can see Reddit, no, there we go. Coin, Reddit, and ARM. again, the short call and the stocks for all these. And if we go over here to the right, we can see the quantity and the price that they paid to close out. So they paid to close out Coin and Reddit. Of course, like I already said, at the end of the day, they were not actually over their strike prices, but they probably were during the day. The market, just from one of the other videos I did, the market was tanked somewhere around 2 o'clock, or between 2 and 2:15, and it just dropped. So that affected, I'm gonna say, the majority of the stocks out there. So that's probably why a couple of these they ended up, like Coin, for instance, they paid $6 a share to close this one out, and it was not, not over the strike price, but that's significant, $6. And then of course Reddit, $1.72 there, and then ARM at 668. So that one's about right. But anyway, so then what I did is I went back and looked these up. So ARM and Coin are a little bit easy because they bought them on Monday and closed them on Friday. And then I just realized that I did not put these together, which means the totals would be wrong, because I did it with the assumption that I had them together. All right. So if we're looking at ARM here, we have the stocks, the open and close, and the short call open and close here. So if we scroll down here on the end, we can see the total prices of what they paid. So this is where they bought the stock and closed the stock. And then this is the premium that they received, but this is how much they had to pay to close out. That's a significant difference there. But in the end, if you look here, they made $700,000 on the stock. But yes, they had to pay out $269,000 for the short calls. But overall, they still ended up making $427,000. So yeah, if they hadn't, if this would have just expired, worthless, they would have kept that premium and still had the shares. But in this case, they ended up, and the premium was, in case you're just listing, the premium was only 56,000, and overall though, by the stock, by it going up, they ended up making 426,000. And actually, we'll just stay right here. So we go down to Coin, we can see the same things where they bought the stock at, the first line, and then where they sold the stock. So they made $700,000 on the stock. And then we have the premium they received, which was $57,000, but then they had to pay $158,000 to close them out. So they paid a total of 102, or a little bit over 101,000 for the short calls. But overall, because they made so much money on the stocks, they ended up bringing in $598,000 here. Oh, I don't know why I keep going over habit, I guess. And then if we go down to Reddit, this one's a little bit more difficult. So the ones that are in red, that was the one night that I was working on this stuff, and it got past midnight, and I realized I didn't have the trade saved. So that's why those are in red. They're based off what the holdings were that day. I did go back and look at each week because we've had 3 weeks, and I feel like we have a low amount of premium received. But it may be just because so many people have bought in recently. So therefore, it seems like we haven't made that much money over the past 3 weeks. But they did, like, even with me not having those trades and just using the holdings, it showed they brought in like 1 something million, 1.6 something million. And just, I wanted to compare it to make sure it was comparable to the other weeks. And like the next couple of weeks, they brought in 1.7 and 1.8. So it was, about the same, because I thought, well, maybe, using the holdings wasn't, obviously it's not 100% accurate, but it's going to get it close, and I just wanted to make sure that was decent there. So again, those two red lines are estimated based on the holdings. But anyway, so we've had these now for 3 weeks. Because you can see the different expirations there, May 21st, May 28th, and June 7th. So the top 3 lines are where they bought the stock. And then the bottom 3 lines are the short calls. Sorry, I was looking at the numbers, but that's right, because I have it over on the right. So the short calls on the bottom. So I went back and looked. The first 2 expired worthless. So these expired here, and we didn't have to pay for those. However, this bottom one is the one that just expired, and they actually paid. Oh, there's another line. Let me zoom out. They actually paid to close those out here. So if we look at our totals here, they only made $50,000 on the stock, and they made $39,000 on the short calls. So overall on these, it only made $88,000. So it's sort of great that we have both of these here on the same day, so you can sort of see the difference. This is the one where we held the stock and we just kept, okay, well, let's do another short call and a short call and a short call. And here we are 3 weeks later, 3 short calls. Of course, we went above at the end of that last one and closed it out. Only made $88,000 overall. But when we look up here at these, they went over their strike prices, but the prices went up so much from what we bought. We ended up making, around $500,000 or, plus or minus some on each one of these. So I'm glad that we had this to be able to use as an example of, different things here. I know it's not pretty. I apologize. I just copied and pasted it over. But anyway, so that's where we were at the end of the week based on those. And then, of course, we've already talked about it. The rest of these expired worthless. And then if we go to holdings is our last thing here. So, of course, as most of you probably know, if you've been following, let me zoom out a little bit more. We did have Victoria's Secret here. I forgot about that one expiring a while ago. So I guess we will be holding on to this probably for another week unless they decide to close out of it, which I don't know. I doubt it. I hope the stock to come back up some, but anyway, so that's the only short call we have. And then on Monday, so Monday will be, the last main day for them to make money for this week's announcement. So there's not a lot to see here. We've already talked about the stuff at the top and outstanding shares and stuff. So let's move on over to our summary and see where we're at. So I showed this last week, I believe it was, one day. And I had that, first calculation there based on what I did was an average of the last 2 months, which made it 101%. Of course, I know we're so low on our premium right now. I just went ahead and made this estimate based off of last month's yield, which was 98%. So we have a 98% there, which is $1.20. However, we've only made 61 cents in premium a share. So, and then I just did the average here. If you average these two together, similar to how we do the single stock ones, all right, if we averaged it, it's 90 cents. However, I expect that they're going to try to pay at least $1, or maybe even close to the first distribution, even though that one was just a few weeks. But I think they're going to try to want to keep this somewhat consistent and keep those distributions at least over $1. So that's, my guess. Of course, that's to show you the premium at the bottom, and then that's to show you a calculation based on, last month's yield to give you an idea. But if we look here and we start over to the left, of course, we're or after midnight, so it should be 18 days complete, because it's already Monday now, so it's swapped from 18 to 19. But it would be 18 days complete with 3 days left, of course, though. Monday is where their trades are going to be to get premium. Now, if we really have a bunch of people rushing in, this week, then maybe they'll go ahead and spend that money possibly to get, to earn more premium. But it depends on how much cash they have sitting around, because they're going to need that cash that comes in to pay the distribution. So we'll see how that goes. But we started at 1630, and you can see each pay period there where we were at. But we started at 1630, and we're at 1466. So we've dropped $1.64, and only $1.28 of it was due to distribution. So if we take out that $1.28, was at 36 cents. I guess you could say technically we've only dropped 36 cents outside the distribution, which I guess is not bad considering. But actually, the last time it only dropped 20 cents from 1650 to 1630. In the end, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll also see. You can see the difference in the outstanding shares. We're almost 3 million, more, which was half of it last month. Was 6 million. So let's look. Of course, we have all these numbers over here for anybody wanting to see it. The net trades, just the premium only for each month, and then the synthetic and stock trades, and then the totals. And then, of course, we have the NAV here. I wonder where this is reading from. Oh, okay, so it's actually reading from this sheet. V5 and G5. V. Okay, so that's why. I need to pull in what the last estimate was last month, because I did not overwrite the formula. So I had to get that fixed. And then G, which we have there, I did fix that. Alright, so then we have here, you can see all of the trades, the actual dollar amounts there. And let's see what we have here on the end. I haven't looked at this in a minute, so yeah, so we can see the short call premium, the outstanding shares and distribution, all that data for the previous months, which we don't really need. All right, so I think the main things were up front here. I just couldn't remember what was on the other ones, but you can see, though, overall we've been trading. ULTY has been trading for 72 days, opening at 2042. Closing on Friday at $14.66, and we've dropped $5.76, and the distributions have been $3.76. So that's where we are as of right now. Again, because I know I had this, and people's like, well, what's the estimate? Well, what I'm telling you is, based off the yield of the previous month, if it's around 98% again, that's about $1.20. If we're just looking at short call premium, as of today, it's only 61 cents. And I do not know what tomorrow will bring, but then that will give us a more firm number for our premium received there. But, I expect that it will be over $1. Let's wait and see tomorrow and see where we're at on premiums. But anyway, I will talk to y'all later, and thank you for hanging out with me.